Welcome to this installment of my Thinking Classrooms video series from Keep Indiana Learning. I'm Jeff Harker, and I'm joined today by Jackie Jordon, a 5th grade teacher here at Smoky Row Elementary in Carmel, Indiana. Thank you, Jackie, for helping us with this important work and sharing your experiences with us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be able to talk about everything we've been doing in my classroom this year.
Me too. This is going to be a good one. We titled this video From Hesitant to Hero. And for me, that implies that you somehow had to be convinced of this. And so you weren't leading the charge for Thinking Classrooms. And I have to tell our audience, because I think it's important for those watching who are not ready to just jump in the deep end, and for lots of reasons, that I originally described you as resistant.
Yes.
But you corrected me right away. So can you tell us more about that, where you started and why hesitant is a better descriptor?
Absolutely. So one of the main reasons I was hesitant is because I didn't really understand what it would actually look like to implement Thinking Classrooms. We had a PD about it, and after that I had seen a lot of benefits potentially, but I kind of had some misunderstandings. I thought that there wouldn't be any kind of explicit instruction with my students. I thought that some of them wouldn't be getting what they needed. And overall, I was hesitant to just completely upend the way that I had been teaching math, which I think a lot of people will relate to. But one of my teammates on my 5th grade team, she was a leader in Thinking Classrooms, and so she kind of inspired me to try this out. I had heard really great things about her math classroom, all of the really great learning that was happening in there. And so last school year, I kind of just dipped my toe in the water and I tried it out somewhat sporadically, but I was not implementing any of the routines consistently, and I found that that was a little bit challenging. So this year, I just kind of decided to start it fully from the first day of school and really go for it.
That's great. And you said very common things that I hear from other teachers.
Yes.
About why they might not start building Thinking Classrooms. All right, so let's take a look at your classroom. And in this first clip, students are working on some bell work. After we watch, I definitely want to ask you about your routines.
Yes.
So if you're in a different math class, you can grab your things. If you're in my math class, you know your routine. Yes. They'll move around, and you'll be at your building Thinking Classroom spot. All right, Gray has started right away. If you were to divide by 5, what would you end up with?
I want to make sure that everyone saw that your students came into class, got their individual boards out, and got to work with very little prompting from you. When I see that happen, I know I'm talking to a teacher that thrives on routines and does a good job of implementing them. Was that a question in your head as you were seeing other teachers implement the Thinking Classroom strategies? And that kind of, what's going to happen to my routines? What's going to happen to everything I've built already?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, when you've taught math a certain way, it can be really hard to kind of let that go and try something new, particularly if you feel like what you've been doing has been working out fine.
Mm-hmm.
Why change what's been working? But honestly, a lot of my routines, like that bell work routine, that has not changed since I implemented Thinking Classrooms. So a lot of it, I was able to kind of merge my current routines with the new practices.
Very good. One other quick question I had about those small whiteboards the kids were using. Non-permanent surfaces, of course, is a hallmark of building thinking classrooms. Have you been using these individual boards a long time? What benefits do you see? And did that help in the transition with your kids to the vertical whiteboard surfaces?
Yeah, I have always used individual whiteboards while teaching math. It's a really great way for the kids to show their work, especially when we're doing whole class problems. They can show different strategies, they can show their thinking really well, show it to their peers, show it to me. I can give them immediate feedback from across the room. I can say, oh, we need to fix that. And so the non-permanent spaces are also lower risk because they can easily erase and revise their work without as much worry. And the vertical spaces have the same benefits as that, but even more elevated. I definitely have more visibility. I can see all the boards around the room, and they can also take kind of the confidence that they build from their individual whiteboards and really just take it to the next level by adding in collaboration and a lot of discourse to their work on the non-permanent surfaces.
It sounds almost like you were already doing some thinking classroom stuff, like thinking classrooms light,
Yeah,
so to speak, because you mentioned things like low risk,
Yes.
which we see all the time with the vertical surfaces. So in our next clip, let's take a look. You're asking students about behavior during their group work. It's hard to hear the students a little bit, but you do a great job of repeating their responses. And so let's see what they have to say.
Listening right now, guys. We're not listening right now. Being respectful of your group. Thank you, Will. Tejo?
You try all ideas.
Try all ideas. Fantastic. Grace?
Have an appropriate voice level.
Ooh, appropriate voice level. That's our biggest challenge, but we're going to do it. Shivy?
Collaborate.
Collaborate. Fantastic. Gray?
By double checking your work.
Double checking. Yep. Doreen?
Stay with your group.
Perfect. All right, last one's really quick. Karthikeya?
Respectfully disagree.
Respectfully disagree. I'm glad I didn't skip you. That's an important one. Isabel?
I think don't yell.
Okay, yeah, we don't want to be, if we're disagreeing with someone, like Karthikeya said, we're going to do so respectfully. We're not going to yell at someone if we think that their solution is not correct. All right, Charlotte S., you're my last one.
Ask questions.
Ask questions. Great one, yes.
Is this one of your routines you do every time they work in groups, or was this just a reminder for this day?
We do this every day. So it really helps us set the intention for what our time is going to be like working together in math. And I'm big on kind of setting that intention. It's a good reminder for everybody of what the expectation is, what are we here to do, specifically during the Thinking Classrooms time. Doing this every day has been really significant for managing the classroom. I have 33 students, and so it can get a little bit chaotic and loud with everybody talking and working. And so setting our intention and listing our expectations every day has been really helpful for that.
But isn't it great that everyone is talking and working?
Yes, that's exactly the point.
That's the point. It
Yes.
does get a little crazy sometimes,
Yeah.
but what a wonderful craziness. Exactly. So let's take a look at our next clip and some of the kids in action.
Yeah.
Is 1:15. That's how many inches. And 1:28. So you divide that by that. How many sides is that are? So it's like 1/3 of the denominator. And then like divide. This is inches. So we're to 68 times. Yeah, that's. Then no, because we have to do. How many pieces? There's 112. That's 5/8 of an inch. No, this is inches. 5/8 of a feet is how many inches? That's like.
So we turn this into
No. You turn 16 to 8. Oh yeah, that. Yeah, so then it's 8.
So did we turn these into inches?
Yeah. We turned that into inches, so now we have to turn 8 and 1/4. So that's 4/35, right? But that what? I think fractions in the answer. Those are inches. Yes, we need to find 9 5/8, 9 16. We need to find 9/16 of a foot. So I think we would divide by like. Good. So 1 foot is 12 inches, and we have 9/16 of a foot. So I think. That's how much inches. So now we need to take 49.5 by 8 and 1.
I have just one word for everyone, discourse. We just mentioned that. These kids were talking nonstop about this problem. Have you found that your students are talking more about the work with each other since you've started the vertical surfaces?
Definitely. And you know, a lot of my students are chatterboxes. I think a lot of teachers can relate to
Yes.
that. And sometimes it can be frustrating. But one of the great things about this is that so many kids love to talk and want to talk. And it's giving them the space to talk in the most productive way possible. So it's been a really great opportunity to kind of build up their talking and their discourse in the best possible way.
And the other thing I wanted to point out, and I've mentioned this in other videos, is the level of engagement in the room. In that last shot, when we panned around the room, every student was where they were supposed to be, doing what they were supposed to be doing, and really invested in the process. I don't see this level of participation and discourse in the traditional classrooms that I visit.
Yeah, that definitely takes practice. But my students know the expectation is for them to stay with their groups, both physically and mentally. And when everyone is following that expectation of being with their groups, the engagement is perfect. It's incredible.
Yeah, I love it. Our last clip is my favorite. It shows how you move the markers within the groups. I absolutely love this. So let's take a look.
Ready? All right, 5th grade. Marshmallow should now take the marker. Marshmallow.
So tell us what we're looking at here and how this came about, because I think it's brilliant.
Thank you. Well, when I first started kind of implementing the procedures for building thinking classrooms, I found it kind of challenging to navigate the 1 marker per group expectation. Sometimes I would have groups with multiple markers. It wasn't working out the best. Some groups could manage it. And then when I was just kind of saying, okay, now pass the marker to the next person, it was hard for me to like track and see if it was actually getting passed, if everyone was getting the opportunity to engage like they were supposed to. And when I had like person 1, 2, and 3, there was someone always jumping to be person 1 or someone always wanting to be person 3, depending on if they were more or less enthusiastic about engaging in the work. And then one day I just kind of randomly remembered a game I had played before where the facilitator had each person pick if they wanted to be marshmallow, chocolate, or graham cracker. And they used that to kind of split up groups. And so I thought that it could be a good way to make that transition with the marker a little easier, and it was definitely a success. And we have a lot of different themes that we do. So the day that you were here, we did our s'mores theme. We also do peanut butter, jelly, and bread. We'll do ketchup, mustard, mayo. Sometimes I'll think of seasonal ones, and some days we'll just do totally random objects for fun. So
That's great. And I'm imagining this is a fifth grade
Yes.
classroom. I'm imagining for a high school you could use characters from a TV show or a
yeah.
movie that they like or something
Absolutely.
like that. So just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. As we wrap up our time together, can you share with our audience your thoughts about your thinking classroom journey and the positive impact that it's had on your students and your teaching?
Yeah, I'm definitely glad I decided to implement these procedures with thinking classrooms this year. It has led to fantastic collaboration and discourse with my students, and definitely encouraged them to think more deeply about math. That has been one of the biggest areas of growth, along with their stamina and perseverance. Being able to work through challenges in a new way and collaborate with peers to work through a challenge has been wonderful to see. And then for me as a teacher, it's been great to spend some more time listening to what my students are doing versus them just listening to me. They don't want to hear me talk all day long. And I love being able to respond to their work in real time, give them feedback quickly, and kind of see the learning unfold through collaboration.
Perfect. I love that. Lastly, what advice do you have for teachers watching this and also hesitant to change?
Yeah, so my first piece of advice is it is really helpful to watch other teachers implementing these procedures, either in person if possible or over videos. I was totally unsure of how to start the process until my instructional coach shared with me another video of yours on building thinking classrooms, and I did almost exactly what that teacher did in the video on the first day of school this year to kick it off, and it was perfect. So definitely watching implementation really helps you understand what this actually could look like in your classroom. And then my other piece of advice would be to remember that a productive learning environment does not always need to be a quiet one. There is so much that can be learned through discourse, and even if it's sometimes a little noisy, there is so much great learning that can happen, even if it may not look like what we traditionally expect.
Great, great. I'm going to take full credit, by the way, for your success because of that. So, well, you're a hero in my book, and I know you're a hero to your students. Thank you for sharing your classroom with us today. This is going to help a lot of teachers move forward in their journey toward a thinking classroom.
Thank you.
Watch this video and find others in the series at kinl.cc/exemplar videos. That's kinl.cc/exemplar videos. Or search Keep Indiana Learning and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get access to our entire collection. And we will see you next time. Thank you.